again. It's now the end of the Mass Perform year, and Danielle and Michael are sitting down to have their wrap-up check-in, where Michael will summarize what he has accomplished throughout the year. This is an opportunity for Michael to sell himself a bit. He's going to talk about the degree to which he accomplished each expectation, what he did well, and perhaps what he could have done differently. He'll also summarize key points related to the rest of his roles and responsibilities. Michael is glad to have this opportunity as it ensures that Danielle is refreshed in her memory of all that Michael has accomplished before she begins her process of assigning a performance rating and writing comments. It sounds like Michael is going to do a lot of talking. He will, and unlike other check-ins, Danielle's role is to listen, ask next-level questions, and listen some more. Let's see how they do.
Hi, Michael. Thanks for joining me for our wrap-up. It's our last check-in of the Mass Perform cycle, and it's a beautiful May day outside.
Looking forward to talking about what I've accomplished this year. I don't think all the work I do is seen, so...
You've had a lot on your plate this year. So tell me about it. Overall, how did it go?
Well, I've had 4 main expectations from you at the beginning of the year, some of which changed as the year progressed. So I appreciate your flexibility in meeting with me and having all those check-ins and talking about what success looks like. Why don't we start with covering the paper files to digital format? What do you think?
Yeah, that's great. Tell me how it went.
Well, we did it. We fully completed the project within the fiscal year. We got the new software set up, and I've even had some agencies reach out to me to understand how we did it. We now have 15% more physical space due to my and the team's efforts, so I feel like I moved the needle.
Tell me more about the process. Did you hit any speed bumps?
Good job, Danielle. How tempting would it be for her to jump in and add her observations about how Michael achieved the expectation? Instead, she held back her perspective and asked Michael to share more about the process he used. By asking a question instead of giving information, she can now learn more about how Michael handles a challenge and makes decisions. Let's see how Danielle continues to use questions to encourage Michael's ownership of the process and his ideas for what he could do differently next time.
Tell me more about the process. Did you hit any speed bumps?
We did. Any project of this size will, but we got there. I think we totally nailed it.
Well, the project was a bit delayed.
Yes, but I think any project of this size would be delayed. I don't know that that's necessarily my fault. There were a lot of moving parts on this one, so...
Well, what do you think you could have done differently to have delivered on time?
Not a lot. And working with other departments was pretty time-consuming. And they weren't always available. And there's not a lot I could have done about it. I did what was in my control, and I'm happy with the end result.
Knowing that it can be difficult working with other departments since they have their own priorities, how could you have approached them differently?
Yeah, I guess when I hit roadblocks, I could have involved you a little bit more. When I was getting, or should I say not getting the responsiveness I would have hoped or really expected. Or I could have elevated it to somebody else, one of the managers, department heads. But I didn't want to stir the pot since we work so closely with these departments. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, you know?
Yes, but I think there are a few other steps you could have taken. For example, make sure you give them enough lead time, letting them know what needs to be completed and why, giving them deadlines, scheduling things ahead of time so you can get on their calendars early. Did you try any of those steps when reaching out?
I think we were just trying to get the work done, Danielle. I don't think that they were holding up their part of the bargain. That shouldn't influence my performance review. My work speaks for itself.
But you were responsible for launching this program on time.
That's correct, but it did get done. That's what I think is the most important. I do a lot around here. I think everyone knows that.
I agree with you, Michael. I know you do a lot. And you're right. There were some delays that were outside your control. But I do think next time there are skills you want to improve so you can get things that you need from others.
So while Danielle's role in this wrap-up check-in is to ask questions and listen, she is peppering feedback into the conversation, and she is delivering balanced feedback. Some of it positive, where good work has taken place, and some of it is constructive feedback, where Michael could develop additional skills.
Thanks, Michael. I was reviewing my path and saw that you added information about your accomplishments in some of the other areas of your responsibilities. Can you tell me more about those?
Sure, I redesigned some of the processes around how we intake customer calls. And I brought new staff on board, made sure they had computers, phones, and the same with our summer interns who even take more oversight. So I feel like I went above and beyond on a lot of things.
Danielle continues to explore Michael's accomplishments outside of her expectations, those of his more routine role and responsibilities. Danielle wants more than a laundry list of Michael's accomplishments. She wants to leverage those coaching moments in which she can point Michael in the direction of becoming a more strategic manager. Danielle raises Michael's awareness of this growth by asking questions. What did you want to achieve with that? What was the impact? Did you see noticeable results? What metrics did you use to support this project?
It does sound like you've done a great job onboarding new staff. Our interns this year were better prepared to contribute right away than in prior years. But I think that's part of your job as a manager, ensuring that your staff is skilled appropriately and that interns are brought on board in a supported way.
Yeah, well, I do think things have gone really well. So, I would assume that I would be given a fairly high rating.
Uh-oh. The most dreaded part of a performance conversation is when the employee has a higher expectation of a rating than is the manager's perception. Let's see how Danielle manages Michael's expectations.
Yeah, I would think highly effective. That would seem to fit with the work that I've done this year.
Now might be a good time to review the rating definitions so that you can understand how your work falls within them. I'm not disagreeing that you've done a lot of work, but let's remember that you were several months late with the file project.
Highly effective also talks about supervision, and I think, if anything, I don't need a lot of supervision. So much of what I do, you don't even know about because I resolve issues before they ever get to you.
And that is an expectation I have of my management direct reports, that you are responsible for your area.
So can you just tell me what you think my rating will be now?
Yeah, let's just take a second to talk about the process for wrap up. So after this conversation, I'll go in and take everything we talked about here and determine the appropriate rating. Then once ratings have been approved, we'll meet one more time so I can share with you my rating and why. Is there anything else you want to share with me today?
No, I will say it's been good working with you. We don't always see eye to eye, but I appreciate your candor with my performance. I do feel like we're on the same team, so thank you.
I agree. I think it's been really nice to engage in this collaborative process with you, and I think we've had good business impact and good business results.
Thanks, Danielle.
Let's review what is important about managing the final check-in of the year. First, this is the employee's hour to summarize their accomplishments for the year, so let the employee take the lead. The purpose of this summary ensures that the manager doesn't forget something that had significant impact on the business when assigning a rating. Second, managers should prepare for the meeting, but know that their role is to ask questions and listen. Third, review the expectations you set for the year, but also talk about the other parts of the employee's job. The time employees spend on the routine is often what keeps the business finely tuned. Fourth, while you must not commit to a ratings decision, you can manage expectations by discussing performance with the ratings definition in hand. Remember, this is just the first part of a wrap-up. The Mass Perform year ends with the rating conversation, where the manager will share with the employee their performance rating. And now the cycle begins again.